Welcome, everyone. This is the sixth week of the Seven Spiritual Laws of Success. Today, we are going to be talking about the law of detachment. Now, this law can sometimes be confusing to some people regarding what it means. So, let me explain what it means. It is when you are working on a project, when you are working to get a job, when you are working to find a relationship, when you are working towards a specific goal, you detach from the outcome and focus on the journey. Because I say this to others, if
Mm,
you are looking in the rear view mirror, how can you see the road in front of you? So focus more on the project, on the journey, instead of being focused on the outcome. The outcome is inevitable. If you are working towards it, it's coming. So you detach yourself from the outcome. Another thing it does, practicing detachment from the outcome, is also a freedom from rigidity and expectations and the attachment of specific results. You know that if you're going to bake a cake and you've done it before, you're going to put the ingredients, the eggs, the milk, the butter, your flavoring, and then you put it in the oven. You're not constantly looking in the oven, are you? You know it's going to get
no.
set. You know it's going to be done. So this is kind of one of the reasons why this law of detachment is very important. It gives you the freedom to
Mm,
know that your project, in this particular case, that your cake is going to come out. You set it for 45 minutes. That's it. You're done. You are done. You set it into the oven. 45 minutes later, you get a cake. Obviously, you test it. You put a little fork in it or a toothpick. It comes out clean. You're done. That's it. That project is complete. Within that time, you're not focused. Is it going to get baked? And is the oven hot enough? You've already done it. And if this is your first time, just follow the recipe. The same thing happens when you're doing a job interview. And I've practiced this myself. I interview for the job, and I'm like, you know what? If I get it, I get it. If I don't, it wasn't meant for me. I detach myself from the outcome. I'm not going to stress. I do send out the thank you notes, but it's not calling every 10 minutes. Did I get the job? Did I get the job? Did I get the job? That pushes things away. That's creating resistance. That's creating a friction between your goal and between the journey. Focus on the journey. Is making the cake good? You're
mhm.
For people that like to bake in this example, they love making it. They're creating something. For me, when I was looking for work, it was I'm going to send out my resumes. I know that my skills and abilities are perfect for this job. The right job is coming to me. So I made the calls, did the interviews, sent the thank you notes. That's it. My cake is ready for the oven. Let the next process go the way it should go. Also, attachment to the outcome creates anxiety and it blocks opportunities. If I were to be calling every single day to see if I got the job, oh my God, this guy's desperate. We don't want this guy here. If you open the oven door to see if the cake is ready, you're letting the heat out of the oven and it's not doing its work. The same thing for when you're looking for a relationship. Desperation is something almost anyone can smell. If you go to an event where you're going to meet singles and you're walking around and hi, my name is so and so, hi, you broadcasting that energy and it's so strong. People are like, I don't want to talk to this person. This person is way too desperate. This person wants to get married yesterday, and I'm looking to get to know someone. Enjoy their journey. Have a cocktail, mingle with some friends, or be nice and talk to other people. Don't just go in like a barrel of monkeys and we're like, hi, my name is so and so. I'm looking to get married. That is
Mhm.
an instant turn off. That is creating resentment, resistance, friction. That is not the goal. Besides, you're not enjoying yourself if you're going in looking for someone and the first person I see is the first person I'm going to marry. You're putting that aura that pushes people away. Now, let's talk about that situation where detachment versus indifferent. Detachment means you're not attached to the outcome, whether you get the job, whether the cake is baked, whether you're looking for that significant other at the bar or singles event, you detach from that outcome, which is different from indifference, which is I don't care if I get this job. I don't care if I find someone. I don't care if I don't have a cake that turned out well. That's kind of more on the negative side. There's a difference between detachment from the outcome and being indifferent to the outcome. We want to make sure that all of our alignment is perfect. We want to set the plan in motion, execute the plan, and then wait for the plan to come to fruition instead of hovering over the event, instead of hovering over the stove or the refrigerator, not the refrigerator, the oven, instead of calling people all the time. And it's like, did I get the job? And do you know if I got the job? And can you speak to so and so? I want this job. That's being a
Yes.
pest, to be honest. And nobody likes a pest. Before I move on to the next section, are there any questions that I need to address?
No, I would say it makes sense because when you're trying to find like try to get the answer, like feel like you show yourself like with like you're desperate to know the answer or something. It's also, I think, it's like you're insecure, that you think that it's not for you or something like that, right? So if I think about the universe and the law of the universe and things like that, you have to feel that it's yours. You have to feel inside that it's yours already. So you don't have to feel that anxious or, hey, oh, what's going on? I haven't received this. I don't know anything about the answer. So it makes sense. Is what I wanted to say. It's really, really, it's very true that.
That is correct. You do feel like it is yours, like this partner is yours, like this job
Mm-hmm,
is
mm-hmm,
yours, because that's what you're now broadcasting to the universe. You're giving that
mm-hmm,
energy to the universe, stating, "Thank you so much for bringing me this," and then you state what it is,
mm-hmm,
that goal, that outcome that you want, because now you're feeling that it's yours. I think that's a very good example. Thank you so much. The benefits of detachment. Detachment opens us up to a wider range of possibilities. Let's go back to the example of when I was looking for work. Maybe that role wasn't the right fit for me, but my resume is out there. Maybe another role would be better for me. But if I practice calling them and sending out thank you notes and keep on pestering them, it's just telling them that I'm not right for that role because I'm worried about it. I'm concerned about it. It's kind of a little bit of reverse psychology in a way. You don't really focus attention on it. You just like, hey, if it's mine, it's meant to be. Come to me. I've learned many times, especially now that I'm growing my business. Number one, the right people will come and the right people will stay. And number two, people that I'm looking for are looking for me. That is one thing that I definitely learned. There are people that are coming up to me for life coaching, for just talks. It just opens up that whole entire opportunity list for the universe to deliver it to those that are not attached to the outcome. You're not going to go screaming at the universe every day. Why didn't I get that job? I've been looking for a partner forever. Well, that's why you're broadcasting that you're looking. You're not broadcasting that you're feeling that you have it. You should be focused more on the journey, on what it is that you're looking for, as opposed to being desperate and needy. That is a very big deal killer. And the universe pretty much knows that. Also, detachment allows us, I just talked about it allows us to detach the journey rather than focusing on the destination. Also, another thing that I like is that detachment fosters creativity and intuition. So for me,
mm-hmm.
when I was going back to the example, I kind of want to give you an example of how it worked for me because this book was very instrumental in my journey, in my learning, in my self-discovery exploration. And a person like myself who is creative, and there are creative people in this group right now, It allows us to, you know what? I already did what I needed to do. Let me focus on another creative project. What can I create now that will give me enjoyment, that will give me fulfillment? If we're attached to the outcome of a certain project or a job, we're focused on that. We're not focused on being ourselves. We're not focused on our integrity. We're not focused on being our true selves to deliver our best. We're focused, it's divided. Our attention is divided. We're focused on, oh my God, when is it coming? And I'm getting it. And no, 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 that's anxiety. And anxiety is the exact opposite and enemy of creativity. Creativity can never flourish in an anxiety driven environment. And as a web developer, I can tell you that 100%. When they tell you that instead of Friday, they need it on Wednesday, all of a sudden you get hyped up. And I don't have my tools, and I need the website, and I need the images, and I didn't get the images, and I didn't get the content. Then you're just completely anxious. You're focused on how to get the project done as opposed to letting your natural skills and abilities complete the task that you were hired to do. And I learned that at my last job. And that's when I was focusing on meditating and manifesting a stress-free Thursday because on Friday we always had a deadline. And it was like, oh my God, will this work? And I did all that I needed to do. Did I do all I needed to do? What's missing? What do I need? And it was just, I was vibrating so hard, the anxiety, that it just took deep breaths and walking outside just to get myself centered and realize that I have the skills and abilities to complete the task. And that's why I was hired. Letting go of the outcome is going to allow you to be like, you know what? I know I can do this. I know this is mine. It gives you time to flourish creatively because you're tapping into your own natural self. You're saying to yourself, I studied, these skills and abilities are strong. I know I can get this task done, and that's where it's at. Let's get to work. Before we go on to the next one, does anyone have anything to share? Any questions? No?
I have a question. So
Sure, absolutely.
even in the example, it reminded me of when you said about, moving deadline, closer or whatnot. How can one be all steady and easy when they had been set up, for a certain deadline, there's a commitment level, etc. And then all of a sudden, you know, you're put with that pressure of having to complete it sooner. Um, how does the law of that detachment, come into play when it's like it's not a negative, I'm sorry, it's not a positive experience?
Well, a couple of things. Communicate to the person that gave you the deadline, and then communicate what is causing your anxiety, not by saying that you're anxious about it, but what is causing your anxiety. Is it that you don't have the proper tools to finish the project? Are you waiting on something from someone and you're trying to get a hold of this person? You can also practice knowing who you are. You know that you can get this task completed, even though the deadline is approaching quicker than expected. You can also speak to the person that gave you that deadline. Why is it now Wednesday instead of Friday? I was not prepared. I don't have all of the tools ready. So it's communication, which is a very big factor, not just communicating with the person that gave you the deadline, but with your universe and yourself. Your higher power. Your higher power now tells you, you know what? You got this. This is something that we put in front of you because we know that you can handle it. You have to trust yourself and trust your universe, the universe. Your skills and abilities are strong. This is why you were given that task regardless of deadline. Now, we also discussed that time is not linear, meaning that we can use our skill set. We're going to have to work a little faster, of course, because the deadline has been brought up to us, closer to us than the intended deadline. But our skills don't go away. Our abilities don't go away. It's our mindset that now was introduced a stressor, and we have to remove that stressor by saying, this is something that I can do. This is something that I can accomplish. Because you're focused on that now, you can detach from the outcome and get that work done because you're not thinking, oh my God, do I have it in me? Oh my God, it's a deadline, you know. And I understand that it is a little bit easier said than done, but I believe these practices are strong and true. If we detach from the outcome and focus on the journey, we can say, deadline, schmedline, move it up to tomorrow. I can get it accomplished tomorrow because we have that skill. Now, if you don't have the tools because you're waiting on someone else, that's a different story. If someone needs to get something off to you and someone says, hey, the deadline is Wednesday instead of Friday, then you say, I don't have everything ready from so and so. I need that before I can move on. If not, I'm not going to be able to make that deadline. Be honest, be authentic.
Mm.
Did that answer your question?
I have. I think for me, what it was being in that position and feeling a little bit like just thrown around. And I learned that sometimes you have to, set boundaries, you know what I'm saying? And also say, what you asked me, I can deliver what I agreed to. This is what I was able to deliver. But, when it comes to an unexpected move up of the timeline, it has to make sense. Because at the end of the day, I want to do quality work. So
Mm.
for me, it's like, I could definitely practice the law of detachment and the result and knowing that, you know what, it's gonna get done. That I can definitely get on. It's when it's an unexpected came out of nowhere, and how do you stay, in an optimistic mentality when, you were thrown off like that. But
Well,
I
you never
do
lose
understand what
optimism.
you're saying. Hmm?
You never lose optimism. You
Well,
just
I
have
mean,
to communicate to the person or situation and say, listen, you just threw this on me. I don't have everything ready. You know, that's and I have seen it. I've been in an interview one time where he hired a web developer and the project literally was a 6 month project and he wanted it done before Christmas. And I was sitting in front of him in September. And at the interview, I said, do you realize that this is an unrealistic expectation? And he said, yes. You know, there was a communication. You have to one has to communicate. Sorry, I didn't mean you. One has to communicate the needs, expectations. Obviously, we're talking about a work situation here. It can be for other things because when you're looking for a partner or an interview, there's no deadline, but we're talking about more of work situations and hands on, where you have a deadline present. You know, you have to get materials ready, you have to get things organized. We understand that. But communication in this specific aspect is key because you want to get the job done properly. But also remember, practicing the law of detachment removes the fear and control and insecurity on how you're going to get the job done. If you say, fine, I'll do your deadline, but we need to talk about why this deadline came up all of a sudden because now you caught me unprepared.
okay, you
Does
can
that,
continue.
does that
Yes.
answer your question?
Uh, can you
Um,
hear that? No,
I'm sorry?
no, nothing. Because my phone is talking, so I don't know if you can hear that. I don't know if it's
No,
interrupting the conversation.
no, I didn't hear anything.
Okay, perfect, no problem. Okay. I wanted
So,
to say something. Well, when you finish.
no, go ahead because I'm getting ready to move on to the next section.
Okay. Sometimes happens to me when I see in the job environment when people they don't send you the information in the right time, or sometimes because they're not uh, working professionally. But sometimes, in my case, for example, it's something that happens to me for this new church job that I have now. This what I'm doing now, and I was completely confused about information, and I didn't understand why they didn't send me something that I needed, and I asked for that. And when I was in the rehearsal, I practiced the song. I did everything as I can. I did my best, trying to use another tools because I thought, okay, these people didn't send me anything. When I get to the rehearsal, I did my everything went fantastic. Not as I mean, I made a couple mistakes because I didn't have that information. But the outcome was fantastic because it was just details. But the director after that told me, Umberto, did you check the app? This the app that we use for rehearsals, when we have all the information. And there is a button there that you press and you open another channel, other thing, and you have all the multi-tracks. And I didn't know that. So I was about to say something, hey, why you don't send what you're not working professionally. And it was my mistake. It was something that I didn't know. So sometimes we have like to give a little bit patient to see how the things going, and probably it's gonna be uncomfortable the first time. So probably it's gonna be uncomfortable, but sometimes we jump very far, very very fast in conclusion or things like that, and sometimes we need time to learn a little bit more than to adjust. uh, and it's something that I learned because we make mistakes that say, "Oh my God, now these guys is irresponsible. These people are not working professionally." But sometimes it's your own process. It's the universe putting you in a position that probably you need to learn something, or probably you know. But we have to like to uh, try to see the difference when it's something that you can wait, or it's something that the people who you're working with, they're not doing, your boss is not doing the things professionally. But well, I just wanted to say that because it's my experience. It's what I have learned so far, that sometimes we have to trust the universe a little bit more, jump at conclusions fast, and like try to learn a little bit more and get information, and try to, like be patient a little bit, like more. That's what I wanted to say.
Excellent. No, thank you very much for sharing because now you bring me to the next section, and I just love the way that these sessions flow because it's now time for the workshop, with not the workshop, the question, which is, in what areas of your life do you feel most attached to specific outcomes? For me, I'm going to share my personal story. In this practice that I built, my attachment, which I'm learning to let go, is the inflow of money. When am I going to get clients? When am I going to get this ready? When am I going to get that ready? And I've learned to what you said earlier, Umberto. It's already mine. This money is already mine. Why am I focused on attracting and getting money? It is mine. I
Mhm,
just
mhm,
have to wait patiently and detach from the outcome. It's coming. It's like I said,
mhm, mhm,
looking at the oven, opening the oven door all the time. Hey, Eldon, chill out. It's coming. Take it easy.
mhm.
So that's my example. So in what areas of your life do you feel most attached to specific outcomes? I open the floor.
I will share. And also, Humberto, thank you for saying what you said. I really respect that. It definitely gave me something to reflect on because it's true. And to answer your question, Aldan, it's in the areas of work. When I have, someone that's giving me instructions, uh, you know, uh, uh, job responsibilities, all outlined and whatnot, and I'm like, I can do this. I very confident in my abilities, and if I say that I can, even though I might not know fully how to do something, I know that I can learn it very quickly. So with that is where it's like, I don't have any issues with detachment from the outcome. And going back to the previous kind of like the friction that I had was when you make this agreement and X, Y, and Z is supposed to go this way, and then the Y is not accountable, or they don't hold themselves accountable. And so there's a breakdown in the flow, and then I have to like I'm gonna admit I get frustrated, because I can control my actions. I could do what I said I was gonna do. My part is this important. I am a man of integrity, so I don't want to like let anybody down, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then the issue is, and where I have this, you know, tendency of like I just want to ring somebody, you know what I mean? Or like leave. Just I feel like quitting, and it's because the expectation or what I would think is that people would hold themselves to the same level of accountability and responsibility for their part that I have an issue with. And why Umberto's, advice was really deep and very well said is not jump into conclusions, and perhaps that there is something there for you to learn, to continue to develop your skills, to be more adaptable and whatnot. So I do respect, that because it is true, especially if it's a career that you're trying to really build on, so um yeah, I think that's what it is for me, like the control over variables that I really don't have control over.
Well, thank you for sharing that experience. But the law of detachment, if you let it go, that's where you reduce the stress. That's where you reduce the frustration. That's where you reduce the anxiety because you know at the end of the day, the project is going to be completed. And you are right, you do address a very important point. There are a lot of people that do not work at our same speed, they do not have our same work ethic. But at the end of the day, we have to realize that is this project for me or is this the pocket of the CEO or the company going to get fatter? Because if I do the person's work and I do my work because it needs to get done, then that pocket is going to get richer. Mine is going to stay the same. And that person that didn't do their job just got away scot-free with not doing anything. No, those are the things that we have to let go. And one of the things that I also saw is practice the words, let them. They're not doing their work properly, let them. That's another detachment opportunity. That's not on me. Let the manager take care of that. That's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to do the task that I was handed. And the manager's job is to make sure that the job is done properly. You let go, you detach from that. Hey, manager, I did my tasks. I'm waiting on this and this and this and that before the project gets completed. That's another way of doing the proper detachment. But I will acknowledge that the love of your work and what you do is important and it's very evident. I can see it. And that's why sometimes we get frustrated because we love what we do and things are not happening the way they should, or we feel that we need to control them. But if we let it go, if we detach, just we have to trust that this will get done. And if it's not done, it's not on you. No skin off your game. You did what you needed to do. You were hired to do something. You did it. That's it. Moving on to the next. A team functions when all players are playing. Unfortunately, there are going to be stronger players than others. You cannot carry your weight and the weight of the other player because that's going to hold you back from doing your best. And if you practice the law of detachment, you're going to feel comfortable. You're going to be feeling secure about that you were given the tasks at hand. And not only do you deliver them on time, you delivered them well. Do we all wish that everyone had the same outlook? Of course we do. But is this reality? Yes, it is. Maybe we need to start manifesting stronger coworkers.
Or be self-employed.
That's the best way to go. I completely see it.
All right.
Give me one second. Someone was trying to enter the room, and
See, Miguel just joined.
yeah, I let them in. Is he here?
Mm-hmm.
There you go, Miguel. Welcome to the group. Thanks for
Hello,
joining.
hello. Thank you for receiving me. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening,
Yeah,
sir.
Mhm.
How are you? How you be doing?
I've been all right. How things out in your parts? And Mr. Senor Umberto or Mr. Umberto, what do you prefer?
oh, Humberto is fine.
Prefiere inglés o Spanish?
English. Well, my first language is Spanish, but I'm trying to improve my English skills. So help me
Good for
with.
you. You want to work good. I'm so sorry to interrupt. I get my but somebody in here. I won't say who, but somebody will vouch for me that I'll indulge somebody. I'll definitely work with somebody if they want to work on the muscle that they want to work. Okay.
Yeah.
He's
So
talking
good
about
for
me.
you.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Oh, we want to
Thank
extend a welcome to Miguel today. Thank you very much for joining. We are in the middle of the workshop, so don't worry about it now. You missed the first question, and I'm going to mention this, ask the second question. How might practicing detachment bring more peace and opportunity into your life? Now, for me, like I said earlier about my business, how is practicing the law of detachment going to bring me more peace and opportunity? Just stop attaching myself to the outcome of the income. I need to focus on my journey, focus on getting my materials, focus on getting the workshops done, the social media done, focus on writing good quality content, focus on my meditations. Those are the things that are going to get me the opportunities that I'm looking for. I definitely love and I'm very passionate about the work that I do. When I do speak to people, I don't think about they're going to be great in 10 days. No, they're going to be great when they're going to be great. As long as we are putting a little bit of water into the glass will get full. I
you.
know that I'm doing good work. We all know that we here in this room do good work. If we let go of the attachment, we're going to get the quality product. That is my interpretation of it. So I open the floor for those to answer the question. How might practicing detachment bring more peace and opportunity to your life?
Well, in my case, I realized that to, I have learned how to develop the love detachment in my life. I'm sorry, it's a solid word, but I have learned how to do that because I'm as a visually impaired person. I My situation in a basic daily task life is very very frustration. I very exposed to a really frustrate frustrated situations all the time. For example, I make coffee and I have my cup here, but sometimes I forget because I don't know, I'm cleaning something else in another area of the apartment, and then I cannot find my cup of coffee. It's just a little example, but it's with everything. It socks, for example, or my AirPods fall off from my ear and I don't know where the AirPods is and I cannot hear the music, for example, or whatever. So I have learned and also bring me a lot of peace when I learned that, you know what, be patient. You cannot see what tools do you have to find the coffee. I mean, where is the cup of coffee? You can call this person because I have an app that I can call and the person helps me to find the coffee, for example. But also, I have learned that the universe or whatever you want to call it is here with me. And when I forget about that, the cup of coffee is in front of me. I don't know why. I don't know why, but that happens to me all the time. Yesterday, my AirPod failed. I don't know where. I didn't know where. And when I checked the case, I just found one. And I was, oh my God, how can I going to find this? Because it's a little thing like this. And I cannot see. I was scared, like, oh my God. Ah, man, when I was, in the morning, when I was trying to get my ready, my clothing and when washing everything, my brushes, teeth, whatever. And I, you know, bend myself to the floor to grab my shoes. The airport was there. So the airport was there next to the shoe.
Mm.
But I detached myself to that. I said, you know what? Forget about I'm going to wait for someone else then to help me or whatever. I don't know. And I found it. I found it. I don't know how, but I found it. But
You
I
know,
feel peace. I felt peace when I said, stop. I'm going to continue my day and let's see what happens. And
yep, that's an excellent story. I feel the same way. Saturday and Sunday, I was helping uh John at the festival and with his booth, and I thought I packed a comb in my little fanny pack, if you want to call it. So I'm like, okay, so when I got to the festival and I was looking for the comb, I couldn't find it. So I said, fine, I'll find it later. I don't lose things, I just misplace them. You know, it's Thursday today, and I found it stuck in between one of the cushions. I completely let it go. I didn't even think about it. And I'm like, what's that? Wait a minute. Oh, there's the comb I was looking for. So it can be something as little as looking for an object, and you're like, you know what? I'll find it later. Let me just focus on something else. To big things, to bigger things. If you let go of the attachment to the outcome, it's more likely coming to you because you already set the intention to get that outcome, to find that
mm,
home, to find your earpods, to get that job, to, I
mm,
don't know, find that partner. As long as you let the outcome go, it'll just come to you because you're not radiating, you're not broadcasting that desperation. I gotta find my home, I gotta find that airpod, I gotta get that job. You know,
mhm,
if you that's what pushes it. We talked about friction,
mhm,
we talked about
mhm,
resistance. The more we pay attention and worry about the outcome, we're not focusing on the beautiful journey towards it, which is what we
mhm,
should be doing.
mhm,
Miguel, you had your hand up.
Uh, you know, I decided to raise my hand on that. There came a point where it reminded me of something else that hopefully is in line with what's being taught right now. But when we talk, when we're talk, when we've come across our difficulties, I know and I've definitely come across a couple of potholes here and there, a couple of a couple of batches here and there. And one of the simplest and strongest things that came across was concentrate on what you can control, and which is your effort and your attitude. And I guess when it comes to attitude, this is where the detachment where the detachment applies over here. We detach. Um, it something does might not necessarily we can we can control how much importance we're going to give to something, and then we apply it, and we then from there we make an effort. We make an effort. We either make more of an effort or less, and results are going to show the results eventually are going to speak for themselves. So,
Excellent point.
thankfully you were able to concentrate on some other things, and then Umberto, and you were able to concentrate on other things, and all of a sudden, hey, surprise, there they are.
mhm,
Well, good
mhm.
for you. Mm.
So, Miguel, how might you practice detachment to bring more peace and opportunity into your life?
Uh, well, a really big lesson that I learned was to stop. It's sort okay. I'm gonna borrow from something else in popular culture right now when they're talking about don't sweat the small stuff. Humberto, I'm going to take for granted that John and Eldon are aware of this, but are you, Humberto, are you aware of that particular phrase? Don't sweat the small stuff.
No, sorry, no.
If I, if I may indulge the gentleman over here, would you allow me to switch channels for a moment? Is it
Sure,
okay if
go
I
ahead. This
switch
is your
channels for a
space.
moment, gentlemen?
This is your
Thank
space.
you. No le, no le dé tanta mente no le dé tanta, efectivamente el sentimiento se expresa algo parecido a no le dé tanta mente a lo chico,
Ah,
a lo que
oh,
es poca cosa.
ok. Oh, gracias. Ok,
Sí, sí.
ok.
Con todo, dicho eso, si me permite una sugerencia, caballero.
Ujú,
Sí, si hay alguna manera de usted tomar un apunte o sea, de la manera de una manera equivalente de expresar ese sentimiento en inglés y para tomar un apunte tanto de la manera que eso se expresa en inglés y cómo eso tiene alguna clase de expresión, tal vez equivalente o tal vez algo llamativo para usted
ujú.
que le recuerda alguna cosa, como por ejemplo este relato ahora mismo, entonces tal vez lo puede tener pendiente y con alguna repetición le puede servir poco a poco y cada paso hacia adelante. Dios mediante,
Gracias,
¿vale?
Miguel. Gracias, Miguel. Sí.
De nada. You're welcome. All right, I'm going to switch
Y me
channels now.
encanta el acento de tu inglés es extraordinario.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
sir.
sir. So
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
there was a particular thing so yeah, getting on what Eldon was saying before. I'm particular about effort and detachment. I've been kind of going through a particular situation. First of all, hold on a second. Uh, Umberto, let me ask you, what part of the world are you right now, if you don't mind my asking?
No, no problem. I'm living in Orlando, Florida.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So this is going to be fine for me. This is going to be fine for me. All due respect, gentlemen. Uh, one of us, uh, uh, one of us over here has been has I've shared the confidence of talking about sort of a new person in my life, and one of you has been very, very patient with me, telling me that it seems like I'm going into that area where I'm thinking too much about a particular person when I should be when I should be paying attention to more important things of my own, particularly things that I can control.
may I
And
interrupt? I'm so sorry.
absolutely, no need, please. I have a feeling you're going to add to this. All due
No,
respect.
no, 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 no. To keep the flow of the workshop, please
Mm.
answer, how might practicing detachment bring more peace and opportunity to your life?
Oh, peace and opportunity. Uh, well, not necessarily thinking about something 24 hours like say every second of every minute, and every minute turns into 5 and 10. Uh, you're gonna be you're you're taking your focus away from what you get for some things that you cannot control. And then when it's something that you can control, you put in your effort, and then things eventually will come to you without necessarily without investing too much into something that you can't control. Just focus on what you can control, and Lord willing, it will eventually come to you if it matters that much. That's been my experience. And if it doesn't, well, uh then you can control what's the next thing that you will give a priority, and what you're gonna and where you're gonna focus your efforts your effort and your effort and your attitude. That's been my experience, and it's worked for me. I can say easily that this has worked for me in a very, very real way for the last, say, 5 years, pretty much since the
Excellent.
pandemic.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. John, would you
You're
like
welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. John, would you like to say how might practicing detachment bring more peace and opportunity into your life?
Yes, sir. So I look at it, as you said, with the detachment from the outcome. It's almost like you have to even read that a little bit deeper, the attachment from the outcome. So I look at it as like I'm also removing my own idea of what the outcome should be, right? And so it's not so much detaching from the process, but also ultimately what is going to be the end result and how it works for me and what it's done for me to offer peace and tranquility is that I am not committed to only one result. It could be the next best thing. It could be better than what I even had imagined. And it brings me back to when I was, dealing with some financial struggles and whatnot. And it ultimately came time for me to make a decision if I'm gonna sell my house, you know, and I had to detach from that. I thought I was gonna keep my house for a good while. So I detached and I sold the house and it offered a whole new life, a new beginning. So that's one way that I look at it. Is like now it's like finding freedom. You find that you've been stuck in a situation, detach from whatever you thought was supposed to happen and allow the universe to bring something better. Freedom, peace, tranquility, openness, expansion, and all the good stuff. New opportunities.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna tell you, it's a brief story on when I practiced the law of detachment without knowing it. Um, like you, I'm a homeowner as well. And then I was having problems with the AC unit. And the guy came in and he gave me an estimate. You need a whole brand new system. This one's an old one. No, no, no. Of course, he wanted to get cash out of me. So I said, you know what? I'll worry about this later. I'm not even worried about it. So then I went about my business, and then my father called and, what's going on and all that. So I told him what happened. We take an air conditioner. You know what he tells me? He goes, my friend is in Miami. He can help you out with this, and he's not going to charge you a thing. And you'll never guess where he was. He's 15 minutes away walking. He came in here in 5 minutes and fixed it without anything, didn't charge me anything. This is how the law of detachment works. It could be something as little as looking for your earbuds or comb, or something as big as
Mhm.
an AC unit. We really, as human beings, how am I going to get this done? And I don't have the money for it. And how is this going to get fixed? And how am I going to get this relationship? How am I going to get this job? And we just bombard ourselves with just needless information, and we just have to let it go and trust that the universe has our backs. And for those that are not as spiritual as some of the people in here, whatever your higher power is, whatever your entity of choice is, God, Allah, Jehovah, Buddha, whoever, they all mean the same thing in different languages. But the point of it all is just to let go and detach. Now, Miguel said something very important, which leads us to the next segment. I just love the way that flows. Detachment and relationships. I spoke briefly earlier how about if you're going to a singles event, or if you're going to a bar and you walk in and you're going to rush to the first person you see and, hi, my name is so and so and I'm looking for a relationship. You're creating an enormous amount of resistance. And the universe just does not, that's not part of the spiritual plan. It's go with the flow, be yourself, be authentic, use your integrity. We all have something to bring to the table. In this situation, we have something to bring to a relationship. So, detachment improves our relationships by allowing others to be themselves without our need to control them. Meaning that you're going to find the right person that is right for you. In certain situations, we want someone to be this way. We want someone to be that way. I can't have a relationship unless this person has, I don't know, they drive this car, or they have this house, or they have this in their bank account, or they look like this. If we detach from all of that, we realize that the person that's looking for us is the same one we're looking for. I was in Chicago. I'm going to share a bit of a story if you don't mind, where I was dating someone and someone goes, you've been together for a while. What's your secret? And I said, when you go out to the club or the bar and you're looking for that person, write out a list of all of the qualities that you want that person to have. And right before you go out and open that door to leave your house, you throw that list in the garbage. We have these expectations on this person has to be this tall and this weight and this whatever. Stop it. You're attaching yourself to the outcome and you haven't even stepped outside of your house.
Mm.
You're already setting yourself up for a failure because what happens if you don't find this mystery person? Miss Right, Mr. Right. You're going to go home angry, frustrated. That's not bringing peace into your life. So you write your laundry list of what this person is and you throw it in the garbage. You don't go looking for someone. You are the prize. You let them come to you. You're going to have conversations. You're going to bring something to the table, but just let it go. Detach from the outcome. What, you're going to walk out with someone when you meet that person at the club? We're getting married tomorrow. You're gonna look like the biggest desperate person, and they're gonna smell that stench. It's gonna be awful. So detach from the outcome when you're doing just basically anything, looking for a comb, a job, a love relationship, that car. Go to the dealership. I'm looking for this type of car. You do the rest. The dealer knows what you want. You already told them what you want. Or better yet, ask the universe what you want. The universe knows. And then just detach from the outcome. Don't worry about when it's going to come. Don't worry about how shiny the object is going to be. Don't worry about how tall or short or thin or muscular or whatever it is that you look for in that love relationship. Focus more on your journey. Put on that jacket. Put on those shoes that you like. Put on your favorite cologne because, and I spoke about this in one of my videos, when you walk out with that confidence, it attracts people because you
Hmm.
feel good about yourself and you're broadcasting that without doing anything but being your authentic self. But if you go on in and you're breaking down the door, I'm here, everybody, come and get me. Come on, that's just ridiculous. Let's talk about healthy boundaries that are essential for practicing detachment in relationships. Are you the type of person that if you say to yourself, "Oh, I'm not going to say anything because it'll start an argument." Oh, you know what? That's okay that the refrigerator door was left open overnight. You have to set certain boundaries. After all, if you're cohabitating, you are both setting some ground rules for both partners to adhere to it. If you are single and you are dating someone, you have certain ground rules. If you're a female, you kind of expect the toilet seat to be down before you sit on it. The partner should know better. You should put the seat down and the toilet seat down before the person sits on it. But there's also abuse in a relationship. You set good boundaries. Do not allow yourself to disrespect it, to be disrespected. If you are the person that are disrespectful to your partner, throw that out. You are cohabitating. You are forming a relationship. Detach from controlling the person to the way you want them to be. The person that is cohabitating with you, the partner that you cook dinner for, or you're being cooked for, is doing it because they like you, they love you, they want you. Detach everything else. If I don't get dinner by 8 o'clock, I'm out of here. No, no, no. You gotta let that go. Especially for first time relationships, especially nowadays with traffic. If the person is late, come on. They're late. Give them a pass. If it's 15 minutes late, that's a brand new time. You give them a call. You text them, hey, listen, I'm at the restaurant. Practice forgiveness. People are tardy. Maybe the parking lot is full. Maybe the car broke down. You got to detach from your own feelings and stop imposing them on another person. Well, this person's late. This person's going to be late every single day of the relationship. This person's not trustworthy. You got to let that go. You got to stop projecting those negative feelings onto the person just because of one little error. Now, if you are the person is late, also be in the position of humility. I apologize for being late. There was traffic, or the parking lot, or I got a flat tire, or the car broke down. Be communicative. They're expecting you to be on time. But still, the purpose of this workshop is to practice the law of detachment. You want to let things flow. The outcome is coming. You are going to get to that dinner table on the first date. You are going to get to the restaurant maybe a little late, but let them know. It lets the other person waiting for you know that you're thoughtful. Hey, listen, I do apologize. I'm running just a little bit late. This is what happened. Before I move on to the next section, does anyone have any questions, please?
Yes, yes, I do. So the detachment to relationships, that for me is interesting, right? Because there's always so many different dynamics, and also because the person is their own individual, they come with their own tendencies and behaviors, right? So I can detach from, having any expectations from the other person. Um, where I have an issue is, again, it comes down to the integrity and also honesty. And so, what would you do, right? If there seems to be a little bit of disconnect from what the person is saying who they are, right? This is, how they present themselves and then their actions.
You sure bring up a good one. Because we're talking about the
Hard to
law.
put you on the spot. Yeah, but
No,
yes.
no, no. Listen, you come to me. I'm the authority. I read the book multiple times. I'm the
Okay,
authority on this.
let's hear it. I'm ready.
When it comes to this specific law, and I'm not talking about other emotions, I'm not talking about the law of karma, I'm not talking about anything else. When it comes to this law and the person's actions are not reflecting, you gotta let it go. You gotta detach from that and then realize that maybe this is not the one for you. You know,
Hmm.
we also talked about communication. If you are trying to communicate, hey, listen, check this out, and then that person is still saying things, doing things that do not align with your values, you got to let that go. That's just not for you, and I don't want to be cliches, but there are other people that are right for you.
Hmm.
If you detach from this person, the right person will come for you. Yes, I understand that the person sitting in front of us and we're having a romantic dinner and we put on our best clothes and we bring our best attitude. It just is not in your alignment. And that's okay. Not everyone is meant for everyone. My teacher back in high school said there is a pot for every lid. When we detach from the outcome, when we detach from the person, when we detach from this, just like we detach from looking for that comb or for the air conditioner, or in Umberto's case, when we detach from looking for the coffee or the earbuds, we found them. When you detach from that specific episode, you're letting yourself be open to the right one for you. And I understand that it does take effort, but we focus on the journey. What's that girl? The Princess and the Frog. How many frogs did she have to kiss before she found the right prince? She
Oh my
was focused
gosh.
on the journey. She got her prince at the end. Yes, I know we're not talking about Disney stories, but the principle is still the same, isn't it? Right? We
Hmm.
apply for a job, we don't get it. Do we quit our search? No.
No.
We keep looking for the job that is right for us. That's our journey. We detach from the outcome. We send out 25 resumes per day. Are 25 calls gonna hit our mobile devices? Hey, we want you. No, the right one will come and the right one will stay. When it comes to situations where people are not aligning with what your values are, that's fine. You are now getting information that this is not the right person for you. And we have to accept that. We have to let it go. This person is not right for me. And guess what? I'm not going to continue. I'm not going to stop the journey, but I will stop it right here for the moment because now I have to recalibrate, realign. This person's juju wasn't jiving with me. This person's values was not these person's values are not aligned with mine. And that's where we take our time and nurture ourselves because it is a learning experience. That was a challenge. Every challenge has a reward. It is always hardest before you find the solution. And we've talked about that many times, especially me as a web developer. Why can't I get this code to work? It looks fine on the testing server, but it doesn't look good on the production server. Then you go outside, you walk around the block, drink a glass of water. Then you get back to your desk. Oh, this is what was missing. It was right in front of my face. Why was it right in front of your face and you couldn't find it? Because you were focused on it and you didn't let it go. When you get up from your desk, you walk around, you're letting it go. You know what? I'm going to fix this when I get back. The solution is right there. I have been so many times in front of a computer and it's just not jiving. Go to the bathroom, walk outside, get a glass of water, take a lunch break. And when I get back, look at it. The answer was right here all along. I was too focused
Mm.
on that outcome. I was too drilled down. Why can I get it? And I want to get it before lunch. And I want to get it. And I want to get it. And I want to get it. And I was driving anxiety to me. When I say, you know what, forget this. I'll just let it go. I'm going to come back later to it. Not even a minute later, the solution was there. So, John, that's how you would approach a situation like that. Not everyone is going to be aligned with our values. You got to let it go. Practice the law of detachment. The right one will come and the right one will stay. You focus on yourself. You focus on the gift that you are. You focus on the gifts that you have, your abilities. You know that you are an asset to every relationship, whether it's romantic, professional, or otherwise. You focus on being that beautiful, authentic self and let everything go. You don't need to worry about it.
100%.
And it happens, thank you, Miguel, for putting it in the chat. It happens when you least expect it.
Yes.
Um, do you want to share something, Miguel? I believe you said something good in the chat, which I definitely would love for you to share because it is something that not only do I believe, but something that I practice.
Okay. I wrote there's been a mix of some things that I sent to you directly, and there have been a thing or two that I shared with the group. Would you share, please? Good.
Absolutely.
Make me
Focus.
focus, please.
Absolutely. Speaking of focus, that's what you started the sentence with. Focus on the effort and the attitude, which you can
Hmm.
control.
Oh
Whatever you
yeah.
cannot control is definitely worth detaching. you will keep your sanity.
Oh yeah.
And this is coming from the person that came in the middle of the
Mm,
session, brought in some good wisdom, and I thank you for that. The second
mm,
one during the relationship portion, detachment and relationships, boundaries equals standards. There's a certain standard that you hold to yourself. It is
mm,
respect, it is honor, it
mm,
is nobility.
mm.
Those are the things that should be honored in your home, in your environment. Nobody wants to go out with someone disrespectful, especially someone that is disrespecting you when you bring them to your home. Yes, Miguel, please go ahead.
Uh, Wait, you just said that you don't want to go out with you don't want to go out with somebody well, who you consider disrespectful, or that's disrespectful, and you don't want to be, and you what
Use your
what's
words.
been.
Take a deep breath. Use your words. You
Mhm.
got
Yes,
this.
sir. Uh, well, I guess respect respect yourself in in what you say and what you do, and you will surely sooner or later, I believe, you're going to attract what you want. Or but if anything, just do it mainly for yourself, because at the end of the day, you're going to be with yourself. You're going to be with nobody else except yourself. So you know, these things that you're doing positively are in order to improve yourself. Anybody who comes at, and that you're people, when we do this for ourselves, we're the direct beneficiary. And what and I'm getting I I've known this for a long time, but there have been times when I've lost focus and I forget that particular thing right there, and it takes me a while to get back to focus and get back to that thing that I know worked then, and it should work, and it should work now because it didn't fail me then.
I can't say how much I love that
Hmm. Thank you.
because you were practicing integrity. You do not lose integrity of who you are, even though you detach the outcome, you detach everything else. If it doesn't align to you, that's it. Let it go. Detach from it. That is the law of detachment. And all of these principles, including the one today in the seven spiritual laws of success, this is why I just love talking about this book because this is one of the laws that just like Eldon. And okay, so this book, for those that don't know, I read it more than once. And I have my little copy here. I love it so much, I have the digital version of it. It definitely was instrumental in my journey about learning about me, learning about visualization, learning about how to receive, learning about how to give, learning about how to interact in this universe. And although the book is short, it is very reflective. It's things like the questions I asked today. How can you incorporate this law into your daily life? How can practicing the law of detachment bring opportunities to you? We think about it, about whatever it is that we desire, and then we just go for it. Yes, I understand you go for it, but focus on the journey in the detachment, because a lot of people get angry and frustrated and anxious when they don't get that outcome. Why didn't I get that job? I did everything right. That girl should be at my feet. You know, I put the money in. Why didn't I get this car? You know, if we focus on why, we're not focusing on the if we're focusing on why, we're not focusing on being detached, which if we detach, it's going to come to us. And this is something that I learned recently. We normally ask ourselves when something bad is happening, why me? What we should be asking is, Try me.
Mm.
Try me. I'm bigger than this. This is a challenge that was put in front of us because we know how to conquer it. And I said this before, after the challenge, there's the reward. If you detach from it, it's coming to you because you're just not paying any attention to, yeah, let it come when it comes. Let this, like with the web development thing, you know what? I'm just gonna go take a break. I'm gonna let this go right now. And the answer is right in front of you. We're just too focused on the outcome. It gives us anxiety and it gives us stress and it gives us frustration. And all of this can be easily removed from our lives if we just practice the law of detachment. Does anyone have any questions at the moment? We are at the final moments of this workshop. I want to thank you all before I close. I'm not closing, you're going to get your chance to speak, but I just want to give you the thank you now. I'll probably thank you later on anyway, but that's just me. Does anyone have any questions that I can address?
Well, I wanted to say thank you because actually, uh, the touch. Well, when we talk about relationships, it was really interesting because it's true we don't pay attention to that. I mean, I'm not paying attention to that, but when you go there, you show like you are desperate to find someone is actually saying, "Don't talk to me." I mean, it's like a red flag for everyone. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to detach about the outcome and enjoy the journey and go to the bar, for example, with to enjoy yourself also to enjoy yourself there with the music and meet new people. Like very relaxed and not to show like you are like just looking for someone now and thank you so much. I learned a lot. It's very nice. Thank you, Helen.
Well, you're very welcome. I bring these stories, I bring this book, I bring these laws, these principles, because I share them with you because they've worked for me. And I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be sitting in this position if they would not have worked for me. Until I changed my life, until I used these principles, my life would have been the same. If it wasn't for these techniques, I would not be standing here in front of you or sitting here in front of you, letting you know that these work. And for those that know me, I've moved from New York City to Chicago to Los Angeles and to Miami, and I've been successful. Are there challenges along the way? Of course there are. That's life. But if you follow these sound principles, and it doesn't really take much, it's a mindset shift. How can I practice the law of detachment to get what I want? It sounds idiosyncratic, doesn't it? If I detach from the car, how am I gonna get the car? If I detach from the job, how am I gonna get the job? If I don't think about it, if I don't worry about it, it doesn't it sound backwards? I want the car, I want this love relationship, I want this job. But if we say want, it means we don't have. And that's what we broadcast to the universe. We then say, you know what, universe, bring it to me when you want. It's coming, and I'm going to wait because I have patience, because I am humble, because I trust you, because I don't have doubts, because I don't have fears. It's going to come at the right time. And we've spoken in this room many times, and we've spoken in this community and many times about divine timing. It's not going to come when you want it. It's going to come when you need it. You are taking the steps to align yourself with that. You are taking the steps to know and realize that it's already yours. You just
Mhm.
gotta stop worrying about it and let it go.
Yes.
Any reflection moments that we'd like to share at the moment before we close out? No? Well, I do want to, John, if you're speaking, you're on mute.
Oh no, I'm not on mute. I didn't say much of anything. I said I think I reflected enough. Thank you. Hold on.
You're
I'm
very welcome. I do want to thank all of the participants for today, and thank you for allowing me to share my story with you, share
Mhm.
this workshop as well. Each and every one of you is blessed because
Thank
you are here, you are present, and you show your integrity. That's most important. You are
you.
true and authentic to yourself, and I see it and I love you for it. Thank you so much. Stick around. I'm just going to stop the recording and I'll be right here. I'll be right back.
All right.